Hello, I'm Michael Shannon, and here are the 2015 Jeff Award nominations. For New Adaptation, David Catlin, Moby Dick, Looking Glass Theater Company in association with the Actors Gymnasium. Sean Graney, All Are Tragic, The Hypocrites. Nambi E. Kelly, Native Son, Court Theater and American Blues Theater. New Work Play. Bruce Graham, White Guy on the Bus, Northlight Theater. Laura Jackman, Look, We Are Breathing, Rivendell Theater Ensemble. Rowena Malik, The Mecca Tales, Chicago Dramatist. P.J. Paparelli and Joshua Yeager, The Projects, American Theater Company. Caitlin Parrish, The Downpour, Route 66 Theater Company. Matt Smart, The Royal Society of Antarctica, The Gift Theater. New Work Musical. Paul Gordon, Sense and Sensibility, Chicago Shakespeare Theater. GQ, JQ, Jackson Duran, Postel Pringle, A Q Brothers Christmas Carol, Chicago Shakespeare Theater. Jessica Thebus, Andre Plus, and Amanda Dainert, Shining Lives, a Musical, Northlight Theater. Original music in a play. Victoria DeOrio, The White Road, Irish Theater of Chicago. Andrew Hansen, My Name is Asher Lev, Timeline Theater Company. Henry Marsh, Pericles, Chicago Shakespeare Theater. Richard Woodbury, The Little Foxes, Goodman Theater. Actor in a supporting role, play. Greg Matthew Anderson, Travesties, Remy Bumpo Theater Company. Behzad Dabu, Samsara, Victory Gardens Theater. Anthony Fleming III, Moby Dick, Looking Glass Theater Company in association with the Actors Gymnasium. K. Todd Freeman, Airline Highway, Steppenwolf Theater Company. Nick Grelly, The Rose Tattoo, Shattered Globe Theater. Larry Ando, The Little Foxes, Goodman Theater. Actress in a supporting role, play. Annabelle Armour, The Clean House, Remy Bumpo Theater Company. Dana Black, Abraham Lincoln Was a Faggot, About Face Theater. Kate Butteke, Airline Highway, Steppenwolf Theater Company. Kate Butteke, Sideman, American Blues Theater. Patrice D. McLean, White Guy on the Bus, Northlight Theater. Cassidy Slaughter Mason, Rapture, Blister, Burn, Goodman Theater. Actor in a supporting role, musical. Matthew Kroll, A Funny Thing Happened on the Way to the Forum, Porchlight Music Theater. Devin DeSantis, Les Miserables, Paramount Theater. Sean Allen Krill, Sense and Sensibility, Chicago Shakespeare Theater. Ross Lehman, Anything Goes, Marriott Theater. Travis Taylor, Camelot, Drury Lane Productions. Actress in a supporting role, musical. Michelle Aravena, West Side Story, Drury Lane Productions. Kristen Choi, The King and I, Marriott Theater. Mariah Grandy, On the Town, Marriott Theater. Megan Murphy, City of Angels, Marriott Theater. Colette Todd, Big Fish, Theater at the Center. Projections and video design. Smooch Medina, The White Road, Irish Theater of Chicago. Aaron Rhine, Pericles, Chicago Shakespeare Theater. Jeff Sugg, Marie Antoinette, Steppenwolf Theater Company. Mike Tutai, Mary Poppins, Paramount Theater. Mike Tutai, Sondheim on Sondheim, Porchlight Music Theater. Mike Tutai, The Who's Tommy, Paramount Theater. Fight choreography. David Blixt, Macbeth, The Artistic Home. Ryan Bork, All Are Tragic, The Hypocrites. Matt Hawkins, West Side Story, Drury Lane Productions. John Tovar, Camelot, Drury Lane Productions. Artistic specialization. Dave Boba, hair and makeup design, Marie Antoinette, Steppenwolf Theater Company. Jesse Mooney Bullock, puppet design, The Hammer Trinity, Part 3, The Excelsior King, the House Theater of Chicago. Marco Ramirez and Stephanie Paul, rhythm and percussion, The Royale, American Theater Company. Isaac Shep, rigging design, Moby Dick, Looking Glass Theater Company in association with the Actors Gymnasium. Solo performance, Ronald Keaton, Churchill, Solo Chicago Theater and Greenhouse Theater Center. Linda Ryder, The Testament of Mary, Victory Gardens Theater. Kelvin Roston Jr., Twisted Melodies, Congo Square Theater Company. Stephen Stratford, Mythacular, About Face Theater in association with Justin Brill. Scenic design, MIDSIZE, Ira Amix and Mary Vesky, The White Road, Irish Theater of Chicago. John Holt, Accidentally Like a Martyr, a Red Orchid Theater. Jeffrey D. Kamek, Watch on the Rhine, The Artistic Home. Angela Weber Miller, The Gravedigger, First Folio Theater. Sarah Ross, The Rose Tattoo, Shattered Globe Theater. Grant Sabin, Yankee Tavern, American Blues Theater. Scenic design, Large, Linda Buchanan, Two Trains Running, Goodman Theater. Kevin Depenay, The Game's Afoot, Drury Lane Productions. Kevin Depenay and Jeffrey D. Kamek, Les Miserables, Paramount Theater. Jack McGaw, The Diary of Anne Frank, Writers Theater. Scott Pask, Airline Highway, Steppenwolf Theater Company. Todd Rosenthal, The Little Foxes, Goodman Theater. Joey Wade, Grand Concourse, Steppenwolf Theater Company. Lighting design, Large, Lee Fiskness, Camelot, Drury Lane Productions. Greg Hoffman, The Who's Tommy, Paramount Theater. Jesse Klug, Les Miserables, Paramount Theater. Jesse Klug, Pericles, Chicago Shakespeare Theater. Mark Stubblefield, Native Son, Court Theater and American Blues Theater. Lighting design, MIDSIZE, Brian Sidney Bembridge, The Royale, American Theater Company. Maggie Full of Love Nugent, Endgame, The Hypocrites. Lee Keenan, The Hammer Trinity, Part 3, The Excelsior King, the House Theater of Chicago. Jared Moore, All Are Tragic, The Hypocrites. Julian Pike, The White Road, Irish Theater of Chicago. Costume design, MIDSIZE, Mara Blumenfeld and Mika Vanderplug, Mr. Burns, A Post-Electric Play, Theater Wit. Rachel Lambert, Travesties, Remy Bumpo Theater Company. Francis Maggio, The Addams Family, Mercury Theater, Chicago. Bill Morey, Sweeney Todd, The Demon Barber of Fleet Street, Porchlight Music Theater. Allison Seipel, All Are Tragic, The Hypocrites. Costume design, Large, Didi M. Ayite, Marie Antoinette, Steppenwolf Theater Company. Teresa Ham, Mary Poppins, Paramount Theater. Susan E. Mickey, Sense and Sensibility, Chicago Shakespeare Theater. Nancy Massimi, The King and I, Marriott Theater. Nancy Massimi, La Cage aux Folles, Marriott Theater. Sound design, Large, Joshua Horvath, Native Son, Court Theater and American Blues Theater. Lindsay Jones, King Lear, Chicago Shakespeare Theater. Lindsay Jones, Marie Antoinette, Steppenwolf Theater Company. Andre Plus, Iphigenia and Alice, Court Theater. Josh Schmidt, The Diary of Anne Frank, Writers Theater. Rick Sims, Moby Dick, Looking Glass Theater Company in association with the Actors Gymnasium. Sound design, MIDSIZE, John Corkle and Alex Monroe, Macbeth, The Artistic Home. Victoria DeOrio, The White Road, Irish Theater of Chicago. Joshua Horvath, The Hammer Trinity, Part 3, The Excelsior King, the House Theater of Chicago. Kevin O'Donnell, All Are Tragic, The Hypocrites. Rick Sims, Sideman, American Blues Theater. Rick Sims, Twisted Melodies, Congo Square Theater Company. Choreography, Brock Clausen, The Who's Tommy, Paramount Theater. Rhett Guter, West Side Story, Drury Lane Productions. Danny Herman, All Shook Up, Theater at the Center. Rachel Rockwell, Billy Elliot, The Musical, Drury Lane Productions. Alex Sanchez, On the Town, Marriott Theater. Music direction, Austin Cook, Sondheim on Sondheim, Porchlight Music Theater. Paul Literal, Lewis and Keeley Live at the Sahara, Hackfeld LLC. Doug Peck, The Secret Garden, Court Theater. Malcolm Rule, Ring of Fire, The Music of Johnny Cash, Mercury Theater, Chicago, and Theater at the Center. Tom Vendafredo, Les Miserables, Paramount Theater. Director Revue, Nick Bowling, Sondheim on Sondheim, Porchlight Music Theater. Daryl Brooks, Men of Soul with a Tribute to Bill Withers, Black Ensemble Theater. Brian Russell, Ring of Fire, The Music of Johnny Cash, Mercury Theater, Chicago, and Theater at the Center. Director Play, Jaime Castaneda, The Royale, American Theater Company. David Catlin, Moby Dick, Looking Glass Theater Company in association with the Actors Gymnasium. Sean Graney, All Are Tragic, The Hypocrites. Nick Sands, Travesties, Remy Bumpo Theater Company. Erica Weiss, The Downpour, Route 66 Theater Company. Henry Wishcamper, The Little Foxes, Goodman Theater. Director Musical, Nick Bowling, City of Angels, Marriott Theater. Nick Bowling, The King and I, Marriott Theater. Jim Corti, Les Miserables, Paramount Theater. Jim Corti, The Who's Tommy, Paramount Theater. Rachel Rockwell, Billy Elliot, The Musical, Drury Lane Productions. Rachel Rockwell, Mary Poppins, Paramount Theater. Actor or actress in a review. Michael Monroe Goodman, Ring of Fire, The Music of Johnny Cash, Mercury Theater, Chicago, and the Theater at the Center. Corey Goodrich, Ring of Fire, The Music of Johnny Cash, Mercury Theater, Chicago, and Theater at the Center. John Hartman, Panic on Cloud 9, The Second City. James Earl Jones II, Sondheim on Sondheim, Porchlight Music Theater. Kent M. Lewis, Ring of Fire, The Music of Johnny Cash, Mercury Theater, Chicago, and Theater at the Center. Actor in a principal role, play. Alan Gilmore, Waiting for Godot, Court Theater. Francis Guinan, The Night Alive, Steppenwolf Theater Company. Francis Guinan, White Guy on the Bus, Northlight Theater. Gerard Haynes, Native Son, Court Theater, and American Blues Theater. Gerard Haynes, The Royale, American Theater Company. Mark Montgomery, Outside Mullingar, Northlight Theater. Larry Ando, King Lear, Chicago Shakespeare Theater. Actress in a principal role, play. Brenda Berry, The Downpour, Route 66 Theater Company. Janet Ulrich Brooks, Vanya and Sonia and Masha and Spike, Goodman Theater. Hillary Clemens, Bethany, The Gift Theater. Kate Fry, Outside Mullingar, Northlight Theater. Marion Mayberry, Grand Concourse, Steppenwolf Theater Company. Leah D. Mortensen, The Other Place, Profiles Theater. Caroline Neff, The Downpour, Route 66 Theater Company. Eileen Nicolai, The Rose Tattoo, Shattered Globe Theater. Actor in a principal role musical. Anthony Crivello, Lewis and Keeley Live at the Sahara, Hackfeld LLC. Nicholas Dantes, Billy Elliot, The Musical, Drury Lane Productions. Devin DeSantis, The Who's Tommy, Paramount Theater. Carl Hamilton, The Addams Family, Mercury Theater of Chicago. Bill Larkin, A Funny Thing Happened on the Way to the Forum, Porchlight Music Theater. Actress in a principal role musical. Shoshana Bean, Beaches, a new musical, Drury Lane Productions in association with Jennifer Maloney Prezioso. Rebecca Finnegan, Sweeney Todd, The Demon Barber of Fleet Street, Porchlight Music Theater. Heidi Kettenring, The King and I, Marriott Theater. Megan McGinnis, Sense and Sensibility, Chicago Shakespeare Theater. Susie McMonigal, Billy Elliot, the musical, Drury Lane Productions. Production review, Men of Soul with a tribute to Bill Withers, Black Ensemble Theater. Panic on Cloud 9, The Second City. Ring of Fire, the music of Johnny Cash, Mercury Theater Chicago and Theater at the Center. Sondheim on Sondheim, Porchlight Music Theater. Production play, MIDSIZE. All Are Tragic, The Hypocrites. The Downpour, Route 66 Theater Company. The Royale, American Theater Company. Travesties, Remy Bumpo Theater Company. The White Road, Irish Theater of Chicago. Production play, large. Airline Highway, Steppenwolf Theater Company. The Diary of Anne Frank, Writers Theater. The Little Foxes, Goodman Theater. Moby Dick, Looking Glass Theater Company in association with the Actors Gymnasium. Native Son, Court Theater and American Blues Theater. Production musical, large. Billy Elliot, the musical, Drury Lane Productions. City of Angels, Marriott Theater. The King and I, Marriott Theater. Les Miserables, Paramount Theater. Mary Poppins, Paramount Theater. The Who's Tommy, Paramount Theater. Production musical, MIDSIZE. The Addams Family, Mercury Theater, Chicago. A Funny Thing Happened on the Way to the Forum, Porchlight Music Theater. Sweeney Todd, The Demon Barber of Fleet Street, Porchlight Music Theater. Ensemble, Airline Highway, Steppenwolf Theater Company. All Our Tragic, The Hypocrites. The Apple Family Plays, Timeline Theater Company. The Humans, American Theater Company. The Projects, American Theater Company. A Q Brothers Christmas Carol, Chicago Shakespeare Theater. Season on the Line, the House Theater of Chicago. The White Road, Irish Theater of Chicago. Congratulations to all this year's nominees.